The purpose of exercise 37 is to identify superior finger-tongue coordination. Also, flexibility is an issue as well. One thing that you can do to really help you is to slur a large percentage of this exercise in your initial preparation. Slurring will help you to do the following things. One, you'll understand the importance of air direction. Two, you will be able to practice controlled finger movement. Three, it will make you understand how the finger rhythm controls fast technical passages when you start coordinating your tongue with your finger rhythm. Next, I will give you a couple of pointers to show how to practice fast, agile articulation. And then finally, I'm going to give you some special alternate fingerings to make some of these passages a little bit easier. Before we even start with the horn, I would like to recommend that you Freebuzz. First, get the right note starting, and take the mouthpiece and get a nice resonant buzz. Get a large crow. It has to have enough wind, but it can't be too windy. We don't want it to have an overly windy sound like this, or we don't want it to have a tight, strident sound like this. We want to have it nice, easy air, but with a loud buzz. The loudness comes from the relaxation of the center part of the lip. Then, what I recommend is doing the following. I know it sounds a little bit silly to do this, but this is going to give you the right amount of air practice that you need to get the job done. Also, you can feel how the lips are always in vibration. You can go do it faster instead of breathing every 1 bar to 2 bars and so forth. So forth, all the way through there. Now, once you do that, you're able to start playing and slurring slowly. I have my metronome set now at 70 with a subdivision in eighth notes. I may move it down a little bit to 60 for right now, just for demonstration purposes. What I then would recommend you do is slur everything. So forth. Really nice and slow. I would get it a little faster. When we are in agile music such as this and we see 16th notes that are marked with staccato, normally we would think of these staccato marks as separated. In such agile music, you can either think of them as a light note or a lightly articulated note or a clearly articulated note. Both will work. Clearly articulated, or if you could think light, in this exercise, when we start getting it faster, I think more of a lighter approach would be more advantageous. When I'm doing these large slurs, for instance in the first bar on the 8th notes, make sure that you're keeping the wind active on the back side of the note before the drastic change. Like the C octave, move more air on the back side of the upper note. And likewise, before you go to the A, move more air out of the back side of the lower C. So forth like that. Then, when we get into passages like the second line where we have these intervals, I don't think of my pitches as elevated. Ba, ba, da, da, ba, da, da. I think that the upper note is more in front of me. Ta, ha, ta, ta, ha, ta. I'm using a little bit more energy for the bottom note, but it's more on the same plane. The goal notes are the repeated note. So forth. Makes it a lot easier that way. Then, the beginning of the third line, we have this A major arpeggio coming back in different interpretations. You can go ahead and play the traditional fingering, but I think that an easier execution would be to play the majority of this on the B-flat horn, all open, just with the trigger. The A is open. Now, the next note, A, is going to have to be fingered either 1 and 2, or I believe third finger would be a little bit easier. So you're adding the third finger on the last 16th note, and then I prefer the F horn sound on the F. Sometimes playing that note on the B-flat horn gives you a little bit more of a brackish or trombone-ish sound. To my ear, that's not a great sound. Makes your life a lot easier. Then, as we continue through this exercise, the same type of things that I've demonstrated already. Slurring. And then finally, in getting into the last line, You might want to consider on that first measure, the last line, to do the first two beats all on the B flat horn. So that would be 1 and 2 for the A, open for the F and the C. It responds a little bit easier. And then finally, at the last flourish at the end, after you play the low C, then remain on the B flat horn so that your F that you play next is trigger, then your A's, the A's below middle C, they will be third finger. So it'll be open F horn, trigger, third finger, open, open, third, open, open, third, one more time as you go to the lower A. Then after that, stay on the trigger, open. I always find that when you play this passage, when you play this, look at notes that go up as far as being a group. So there's a group of 4 ascending notes. I don't know if you can hear what I'm doing, but I'm bringing out that first note of each group a little bit more. That way it's a little bit more solid. Lower notes take more energy to sound as loud, so I'm making sure that I don't end up with a successive bunch of crescendos. So forth like that. Practice at slurring. Great flexibility exercise, by the way. So, these alternate fingerings that I showed you, along with diligent work, practicing it slowly, getting it faster, will make your job one heck of a lot easier. So, I'm going to illustrate what this is like to do it all the way through. Follow along with the music.